Hi, everyone. This is Jason Smith with White Hack Labs, and we're here today to talk to Scott Augenbaum. Scott is a 29-year veteran with the FBI, and he specialized in cybercrimes.
Hey, Jason, thanks so much for having me on. It's great to see you again, and thank you for letting me talk to everyone here. If you would have told me 29 years ago I'd be retired from the FBI talking about cybercrime, I'd say not my life at all. But during my career with the FBI, I spent the majority of it handling cybercrime. I had an opportunity to interact with almost 1,000 victimizations. And one of the things that I discovered is the majority of them could have been prevented. But during my career, I've responded to a lot of enterprise level breaches. And let me tell you a little bit about what I've discovered when I dealt with them. A lot of organizations ask, when do you contact the FBI? When do you bring the FBI in? But what happens when we contact you? Because the majority of the incidents that I worked in my career was me coming over and talking to organizations and telling them they had a problem. Now, Jason, we have a pretty good rapport and everything. I'm really a lot of fun. But how do you think people feel when I would show up at their organization and tell them they had a problem?
I'm going to imagine that they did not feel very good about that.
Because here I was showing up and breaking the bad news to the organizations. And these enterprise level data breaches, they all had a couple of things in common. And a lot of this stuff mapped to the core critical security controls. In these enterprise level victimizations, let me tell you, first of all, nobody knew what was on their network. Now, Jason, let me ask you, if you don't know what's on your network, how can you adequately protect what's on your network?
No, you cannot.
And
Not.
then if you don't know what's on your network, how can you patch what's on your network?
You need to know what's on your network.
Because if you can't patch, you're going to come across with all of these different vulnerabilities. And now with COVID-19 and a lot of our workforce working from home, a lot of these organizations, the workers are using their personal laptops and they have all of these different software packages that are on. And as you know, don't you see, isn't it a risk when you have workers working from home and they have all these different applications and these applications aren't being patched either?
We find that third-party applications are a huge source of injury to a lot of our clients.
And one of the things that I've seen a lot is ransomware. Ransomware, I'm almost getting tired of talking about ransomware. I've been talking about ransomware since 2015. And what was one of the biggest commonalities that I've seen? Every time the organizations are impacted with ransomware, almost everyone has admin rights on their computers. Everyone across the enterprise. And if they have admin rights, what happens? Get ransomware. One of the things that I talk about in my book that I would think I wouldn't have to be talking about this with enterprises happens to be weak passwords. Just in the whole sense, like what were we talking about with SolarWinds? We thought it was really complicated, but what caused the SolarWinds incident to occur?
It was a weak password that was discovered by a security expert in 2019.
Yeah. So we take all of these things combined. We take about the fact that if you don't know what's on your network, how do you protect what's on your network? If you don't know what kind of software is on your network, how do you patch what's on your network? And if you give all of your users admin rights, it's almost game over. And then we have this whole thing with weak passwords. So I always say, a majority of the cybercrime that I dealt with could have been prevented. But at the same time, if the victim organizations just understood this, and these are all in the core critical controls, and that's one of the big things that I see is organizations are not mapping to the core critical controls. And some of the excuses I get all the time is, well, I don't need to map to the core critical controls because I'm not PCI compliant. That does not matter. Every organization has valuable assets that the bad guys want to get their hands on. And every organization has to realize, because another thing is none of my victims ever expected to be victimized.